Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society needs a spectacle. It might help us to see some need.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 13th of November 2021, we look at D-Day, capital D, D-A-Y, D-Day, with the view being that as D-Day, the 19th of November 2021, inches closer, many public servants in St Vincent and the Grenadines, deemed frontline workers, face the daunting prospect of being compulsorily vaccinated or fired from their jobs. D-Day is a term which has its origins dating back to the 6th of June 1944, when Allied forces launched a combined naval, air and land assault on Nazi-occupied France. That assault, simply put, marked the beginning of the end of Hitler's reign in Nazi Germany, and in effect, the beginning of the end of World War II. That day, the 6th of June 1944, was called D-Day because it was simply the first day of that large military operation. And since then, the first day of any large military operation has been referred to as D-Day. Since then also, the term D-Day has been used to refer to the first day that is chosen for the beginning of a significant event. Such significant event is one which usually affects or has an impact on a significantly large number of people in a country. It is with that latter reference in mind, that is, that a significant number of people, in this case, Vincentians, will be affected by the regime's policy or decision to fire public servants who are not fully vaccinated by the 19th of November 2021, while we here on A View from the Outside refer to the 19th of November 2021 as D-Day in St Vincent and the Grenadines. It has been reported extensively, locally and across the Caribbean, that come D-Day, the 19th of November 2021, all frontline workers in St Vincent and the Grenadines will be vaccinated or must be vaccinated. That edict has come from the regime in the country, which previously amended the Public Health Act to allow them to carry out such extreme measures. The regime has said that frontline workers who do not take the vaccine and who have not been given an exemption will have no choice but to leave their job. Those categorized as frontline workers, whom the regime say are to be fully vaccinated by D-Day, the 19th of November 2021, are health workers, police officers, prison and customs officers, permanent secretaries, all heads of department and technical officers, and teachers and other school staff who have not traditionally been categorized as frontline workers. The effect of that policy or decision means that many of those workers who have, for one reason or another, decided not to take the vaccine face the disconcerting prospect of being sacked from their jobs. The threat has already been made and vociferously and angrily repeated by the Prime Minister himself. Many of those workers have worked for years in some cases decades, and now face the unsettling prospect of losing everything, including losing their hard-earned pension. Many of them are the only breadwinner in their household, which means that their families will be left without an income. Many families will be driven into poverty, thus adding to the statistics of extreme poverty which already exists throughout the country. The unemployment numbers and thus the unemployment rate in the country will inevitably rise, which will undoubtedly add to the list of those in extreme poverty. A great deal of us will no doubt remember that it was not so long ago that many of those said frontline workers who now stare unemployment, joblessness, and ruin in the face were lauded, L-A-U-D-E-D, lauded as heroes, capeless heroes, by the very regime who now threatens their livelihood and, in effect, the livelihood of their families. Many will also remember the song Capeless Heroes by the local Vincentian artist James P., who was featured here on A View from the Outside on the 11th of July 2020. The song Capeless Heroes was featured in that program. In his song, James P. praised the frontline workers, those capeless heroes as he called them, for putting their lives on the line during the height of the pandemic and to save Vincentians, and for working overtime to give Vincentians peace of mind. You will remember also that on the back of that song, the head of the regime, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, is quoted as saying, I quote, "I contacted my St Vincent and the Grenadines United Nations mission to have them send to the Security Council, to the General Secretary of the United Nations, and to the World Health Organization a copy of his song about capeless heroes, about the frontline workers. I want to congratulate James P. It's a good composition." Unquote. Clearly, from that comment, Dr. Gonsalves himself has exhibited that he recognized the value and the contribution of the frontline workers, the capeless heroes. Because of that recognition, because of his recognition, it is incomprehensible that he and his government ministers have now taken such a draconian stance against those said frontline workers, those capeless heroes. Yes, COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy is of significant concern in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And some of the reasons for such hesitancy have already been discussed in the public domain, including the attitude of Prime Minister Gonsalves and some of his government ministers during the early stages of the disease. Comments including the Prime Minister singing over the airways, "Jah kill or Jah lick them with diseases," including COVIDitis, and the earlier attitude towards the wearing of masks, gatherings, including funerals, and his refusal, the Prime Minister's refusal, to adopt and follow the basic protocol, all contributed to the distrust of the people towards taking the vaccine. There is distrust, too, in relation to who can and probably will get exemptions, because such exemptions can only be obtained from a government-appointed doctor, not your own doctor, who has known you for a considerable period of time. There's also a lack of confidence in the system, especially concerning confidentiality issues. People are concerned, especially when there is a body of evidence showing that citizens' health, their health condition, and other information have been leaked almost at will. Of course, there are other reasons why there is vaccine hesitancy, including the uncertainty of serious side effects and complications, and for religious and other reasons as well. It is clear that whatever the reasons for someone not taking the vaccine, the regime, by the draconian stance which they have taken, have dispensed with being reasonable with those frontline workers who will not have taken the vaccine by D-Day, the 19th of November 2021. The regime have been accused of not having fully engaged the education process, where they have not educated Vincentians fully or properly on the pros and cons of the vaccine. It has been said that their strategy focused principally on taking the vaccine by will or by force. It has also been said that by adopting such, they have ignored the art of negotiation and diplomacy. And while they wield the big stick on frontline workers, the locals, Mustique, and those in Mustique are allowed to have a carnival. D-Day, the 19th of November 2021, is less than a week away, and Vincentians near and far, at home and in the Vincentian diaspora, are bracing themselves for the impact. The fallout could be catastrophic for individuals, for families, for communities, and for the country. The mental health of many could be seriously impacted and affected. And in a country where healthcare is severely inadequate, the country could have a crisis on its hands. The 19th of November 2021 is also deemed International Men's Day. The theme of this year's International Men's Day is better relations between men and women. It is the day when male positive role models and the positive value men bring to the world, their families and communities, are celebrated worldwide. It is the day when the loving strength which men bring to their families and communities are celebrated. It is the day when the male suicide crisis is highlighted and addressed. It is the day when the need for men's health and well-being are advocated for. It is the day when men and women are encouraged to work together, to stand together for justice, so that all will win. Is it a coincidence that D-Day in St Vincent and the Grenadines takes place on the same day, the 19th of November 2021, as International Men's Day? Or is there a deeper message to be gleaned? Vincentians, as D-Day, the 19th of November 2021, inches closer, we, here on A View from the Outside, call for cool, calm heads to prevail. We say that the art of diplomacy and compromise are not lost altogether, and that they must be engaged to avert the impending crisis which could descend on the country. Until next week, Justin and all the listeners, this is Brereton Horne with a reminder to send your feedback as usual to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. We also invite you to visit and like our Facebook page at A View from the Outside. and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at JMP Horne. Justin, you and all of the listeners have a pleasant Saturday, have a wonderful Sunday, and a productive week ahead as we all wait with bated breath on